When people hear the name Cleopatra, they often imagine beauty, luxury, and romance. But Cleopatra was far more than a seductive queen. She was a brilliant political strategist, a fearless ruler, and the last true pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Her life was filled with danger, ambition, betrayal, and dramatic alliances that shaped the future of the ancient world. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek royal family that ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander the Great. Although her family was Greek, Cleopatra made a bold decision that set her apart from every ruler before her. She learned the Egyptian language, embraced Egyptian religion, and presented herself not only as queen, but as a living pharaoh chosen by the gods. This allowed her to connect deeply with the Egyptian people and strengthen her legitimacy. From a young age, Cleopatra was educated in philosophy, mathematics, politics, medicine, and multiple languages. Ancient sources suggest she spoke at least 7 languages, allowing her to negotiate directly with foreign leaders without translators. Intelligence and charisma became her greatest weapons in a world dominated by powerful men and military empires. When her father died, Cleopatra became co-ruler with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII. According to tradition, they were forced to marry, even though they were siblings. Power struggles quickly erupted. Advisors manipulated the young king, pushing Cleopatra out of the palace and into exile. Rather than surrender, Cleopatra planned a daring return that would change history. She secretly entered the royal palace hidden inside a carpet or linen sack and presented herself directly to Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome. Caesar was impressed by her courage, intelligence, and ambition. Their alliance restored Cleopatra to the throne, and together they defeated her rivals. Cleopatra soon gave birth to a son, Caesarion, whom she claimed was Caesar's heir. As pharaoh, Cleopatra ruled with confidence and strategic brilliance. She stabilized Egypt's economy, controlled grain production, strengthened trade routes, and managed political alliances. She appeared on coins and monuments not as a passive queen, but as a powerful ruler equal to male pharaohs. She adopted traditional Egyptian imagery, associating herself with the goddess Isis, presenting herself as a divine mother and protector of Egypt. After Caesar's assassination in Rome, Cleopatra faced a dangerous political vacuum. She aligned herself with Mark Antony, a powerful Roman general. Their relationship was both romantic and political. Together, they formed a formidable alliance that threatened Rome's rising leader, Octavian. Cleopatra supported Antony with ships, money, and troops. She envisioned a powerful Eastern Empire centered in Egypt, independent from Roman control. But their ambition alarmed Rome. Octavian launched a massive propaganda campaign, portraying Cleopatra as a dangerous foreign seductress manipulating Roman leaders. The conflict ultimately reached its dramatic climax at the famous Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The sea was filled with hundreds of warships, banners snapping in the wind, and the thunder of oars striking the water. It was not just a battle between fleets. It was a battle for control of the future of the Roman world and the fate of Egypt itself. Antony and Cleopatra's combined forces faced the disciplined navy of Octavian, whose commanders were highly trained and strategically ruthless. Despite their courage and resources, Antony and Cleopatra were outmaneuvered. Confusion spread across the battlefield, communication collapsed, and at a critical moment, Cleopatra's fleet withdrew, forcing Antony to follow her in an attempt to regroup. What began as a tactical decision quickly turned into a disastrous retreat. Octavian seized the opportunity and crushed the remaining forces, securing a decisive victory. Realizing the battle was lost, Antony and Cleopatra fled back to Egypt carrying the weight of defeat and uncertainty. Alexandria, once a shining center of culture and wealth, awaited the arrival of Roman legions. Allies abandoned them, supplies diminished, and fear spread throughout the city. In the chaos, Antony received false news that Cleopatra had already taken her own life. Overwhelmed by grief and believing everything was lost, he chose to end his life rather than face capture and humiliation. Mortally wounded, he was brought to Cleopatra, where he died in her arms, a tragic end to their shared dream of power and independence. Cleopatra now faced an impossible choice. Capture meant being paraded through Rome as a trophy, stripped of dignity and authority. For a woman who ruled as a living pharaoh, such a fate was unthinkable. Determined to control her destiny, Cleopatra chose death over submission. According to tradition, she allowed herself to be bitten by an asp, a sacred Egyptian snake associated with royalty and rebirth. Whether through snake venom or poison, her final act became a symbol of sovereignty and defiance. With Cleopatra's death, the line of pharaohs that had ruled Egypt for more than 3,000 years came to an end. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, and the ancient world entered a new political era. In truth, Cleopatra was far more than a romantic figure. She was a highly educated ruler, fluent in multiple languages, skilled in diplomacy, economics, and leadership. She managed Egypt's grain supply, stabilized the economy during crisis, strengthened trade networks, and negotiated directly with the most powerful leaders of her time. As pharaoh, Cleopatra balanced Egyptian tradition with Greek intellectual culture. She supported temples, honored sacred rituals, and presented herself as the living embodiment of the goddess Isis, reinforcing her divine legitimacy among the people. At the same time, she mastered the political strategies needed to survive in a dangerous international world. She ruled during one of the most unstable periods in Mediterranean history, an age of civil wars, shifting alliances, and expanding empires. Despite enormous pressure, Cleopatra maintained her throne for over 20 years, an extraordinary achievement for any ruler, especially in a male-dominated political world. Cleopatra was not simply the companion of powerful men. She was a sovereign leader who commanded fleets, negotiated empires, and governed millions of people. She understood the power of image, language, religion, and loyalty. Her life was a lesson in strategy, resilience, and ambition. Even today, Cleopatra continues to fascinate the world. Films, books, and art keep her legend alive, but behind the glamour remains the story of a woman who dared to challenge the greatest empire on earth. She was the last flame of ancient Egypt's sovereignty. When she died, an entire civilization closed its final chapter. Temples fell silent, ancient traditions faded, and the age of the pharaohs disappeared into history. Cleopatra's life was not a story of romance alone. It was a story of courage, intelligence, and power. She remains one of the most extraordinary leaders in human history, remembered not for who she loved, but for how she ruled. If you enjoyed exploring the life of Cleopatra and the fall of ancient Egypt, remember to like, subscribe, and continue discovering the mysteries of history.